Hello and welcome back to English Adventure. Do you ever feel like the world is huge and your dreams are so far away? Let me tell you about a boy who had big dreams. Just like you, he didn't start with money or special powers. All he had was a curious heart and a love for learning. His name is Bill Gates, and he became one of the most famous and successful people in the world. His story isn't just about getting rich. It's about believing in yourself, working hard, and making your ideas come true. It's about never giving up, even when things get tough. Today, we'll start his story. We'll talk about his childhood, what made him curious, the challenges he faced, and how he fell in love with computers. By the end, you'll know more about Bill Gates' early life and feel excited to chase your own dreams. Plus, as we go, you'll learn some new English words and phrases. Just like Bill Gates loved learning something new every day. So, stick with us. It's going to be a fun journey. Chapter 1. A Curious Mind in a World of Possibilities. On October 28, 1955, in the vibrant city of Seattle, Washington, a boy named William Henry Gates III was born into a family of ambition and intellect. His father, William H. Gates Sr., was a prominent lawyer, and his mother, Mary Maxwell Gates, was a schoolteacher turned civic leader who served on various boards, including the United Way. Bill, as he was called, grew up in a comfortable upper-middle-class home with his older sister, Christy, and younger sister, Libby. The Gates household was filled with books, debates, and a strong emphasis on education. But young Bill was a child who often preferred the company of his own thoughts over the social games of his peers. From an early age, Bill showed signs of a brilliant mind. At 4 years old, he could recite long passages from encyclopedias, a habit that earned him the nickname, "Walking Encyclopedia," among his family. His parents encouraged his curiosity, filling their home with educational games and puzzles. But Bill's sharp intellect came with challenges. He was restless, often bored by the slow pace of traditional schooling. When he was 9, his parents enrolled him in Lakeside School, a private preparatory school known for its rigorous academics. Lakeside was a turning point for Bill. Not because of its classrooms, but because of a machine that would change the course of his life. A computer. In the 1960s, computers were rare, bulky machines found only in universities and research labs, far from the reach of most children. But Lakeside had a forward-thinking program that allowed students access to a teletype terminal connected to a General Electric computer. Bill, now 13, was instantly captivated. The machine was a mystery to most. But to Bill, it was a gateway to a new world. He spent hours during lunch breaks and after school in the computer room, typing commands on the teletype, watching as the machine printed responses on a roll of paper. He taught himself to program in BASIC, a simple coding language, and wrote his first program, a game of tic-tac-toe that allowed users to play against the computer. The thrill of making the machine do what he wanted was intoxicating. And Bill knew he had found his passion. At Lakeside, Bill met Paul Allen, a senior student who shared his love for computers. The two became fast friends, bonding over their fascination with technology. They would sneak into the computer room late at night, experimenting with the teletype and dreaming of a future where computers were everywhere. But their enthusiasm sometimes got them into trouble. When the school's computer time ran out, students were charged for usage. Bill and Paul found a way to hack into the system. Gaining free access, they were caught, and the school banned them from the computer room for a month. The incident taught Bill an early lesson about ethics, but it also deepened his determination to master the digital world. Bill's teenage years were marked by a relentless drive to learn. He read voraciously, not just about computers, but about business, science, and history. He devoured books like The Catcher in the Rye and Business Adventures, a collection of essays that his mother gave him, which would later become one of his favorites. He also studied the lives of inventors and entrepreneurs, fascinated by how they turned ideas into reality. At 16, Bill and Paul started a small company called Traf-O Data, using their programming skills to analyze traffic data for the city of Seattle. The venture earned them a modest $20, but more importantly, it gave Bill a taste of what was possible when technology and business intersected. He began to dream of a world where computers weren't just for scientists. They were for everyone. It was a bold vision, one that would take years of learning, risk, and innovation to bring to life. Chapter 2: Building a Digital Revolution. After graduating from Lakeside in 1973, Bill Gates enrolled at Harvard University, one of the most prestigious schools in the world. His parents hoped he would study law, following in his father's footsteps. But Bill had other plans. At Harvard, he declared a pre-law major to appease his family. But he spent most of his time in the computer lab, taking advanced math and programming courses. He was a prodigy in the digital realm, but he struggled to fit in socially. Bill was intense and focused, often staying up all night coding, surviving on soda and pizza. His roommate, Steve Ballmer, who would later become a key figure in Bill's life, described him as the most driven person I've ever met. While at Harvard, Bill kept in touch with Paul Allen, who had moved to Boston to work for Honeywell, a technology company. In late 1974, Paul showed Bill a copy of Popular Electronics magazine featuring the Altair 8800, the world's first personal computer kit. The Altair was a crude machine with no monitor or keyboard, just a box with switches and lights. But it represented a revolution. Bill and Paul saw an opportunity. If they could write software to make the Altair useful, they could lead the way in a new industry. They contacted the Altair's manufacturer, MITS, and offered to create a version of the basic programming language for the machine. There was just one problem. They didn't have an Altair, and they hadn't written the software yet. But Bill and Paul were confident they could deliver. For the next 8 weeks, Bill and Paul worked around the clock in Harvard's computer lab. Bill wrote the code, while Paul tested it on a simulator they built to mimic the Altair. They barely slept, fueled by adrenaline and the belief that they were on the cusp of something big. When they finally sent their basic interpreter to MITS, it worked perfectly on the first try, a feat that stunned the company's engineers. In 1975, Bill dropped out of Harvard at the age of 19 to start a company with Paul. They named it Microsoft, a combination of microcomputer, and software, and moved to Albuquerque, New Mexico, where MITS was based. It was a risky decision. Bill's parents were disappointed, and many of his friends thought he was throwing away a promising future. But Bill was determined to follow his passion for computers, no matter the cost. Microsoft's early days were chaotic. Bill and Paul worked out of a small office, hiring a few programmers to help them develop software for the growing personal computer market. They faced constant challenges, tight deadlines, buggy code, and competition from larger companies. But Bill's vision kept them going. He believed that computers would one day be on every desk and in every home. A radical idea at a time when most people saw computers as tools for scientists and hobbyists. To make that vision a reality, Microsoft focused on creating software that was user-friendly and accessible, starting with BASIC and later expanding to other languages and operating systems. In 1980, Microsoft got its big break. IBM, the leading computer company at the time, was developing its first personal computer, the IBM PC, and needed an operating system. Bill and Paul saw an opportunity and offered to provide one. They didn't have an operating system ready, so they bought a system called QDOS, Quick and Dirty Operating System, from another developer for $50, modified it, and licensed it to IBM as MS-DOS, Microsoft Disk Operating System. It was a shrewd move. Microsoft retained the rights to sell MS-DOS to other companies, ensuring they would profit as the PC market grew. When the IBM PC launched in 1981, it became a massive success, and MS-DOS became the standard operating system for personal computers, catapulting Microsoft to the forefront of the tech industry. Bill's relentless drive to learn and innovate fueled Microsoft's growth. In 1983, the company moved to Redmond, Washington, where it remains headquartered today. That same year, Microsoft released Windows, a graphical operating system that made computers easier to use by introducing a mouse and clickable icons. Windows wasn't an immediate hit. It took several versions to perfect. But by the 1990s, it dominated the market, thanks to Bill's focus on user experience and his willingness to adapt. He also expanded Microsoft into software applications, launching Microsoft Office in 1989, which included Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, tools that became essential for businesses and individuals alike. But Bill's journey wasn't without setbacks. In the 1990s, Microsoft faced antitrust lawsuits from the U.S. government, which accused the company of monopolistic practices, particularly for bundling its Internet Explorer browser with Windows to edge out competitors like Netscape. The legal battles were a low point for Bill, who was portrayed as a ruthless businessman. He later admitted he could have handled things differently, but the experience taught him valuable lessons about leadership and responsibility. Despite the challenges, Microsoft thrived, and by 2000, Bill Gates was the richest man in the world, with a net worth of over $100 billion. He had achieved his vision of a computer on every desk. But his journey was far from over. He turned his attention to using his wealth and knowledge to make the world a better place. Chapter 3. Coding Your Path to Success. Bill Gates's visionary rise is a story of passion, perseverance, and the power of learning. From a curious boy tinkering with a school computer to the founder of a global tech empire, his journey shows that success comes from following your dreams. Even when the path is uncertain, Bill didn't let setbacks stop him. When he was banned from the computer room at Lakeside, he found a way to keep learning. When he dropped out of Harvard, he took a risk to chase his vision. When Microsoft faced lawsuits, he adapted and grew. His life teaches us that learning is the key to unlocking your potential. Whether you're coding a program or mastering a new language. For those of you learning English, Bill's story offers a powerful lesson in persistence and innovation. Just as he wrote code to bring computers to life, you can write your own story in English by learning new words, phrases, and expressions. Learning a language is like building software. It takes time, trial, and error. You might struggle with grammar, mispronounce words, or feel overwhelmed by new vocabulary. But every challenge is a chance to improve. Start small. Learn words from this story, like vision, software, or innovation. Practice using them in sentences. Bill Gates had a vision to put software in every home. Over time, those small lines of code will build a program of fluency. Just as Bill's early programs built Microsoft, Bill's journey also inspires us to live with purpose and ambition. He didn't just want to write software. He wanted to change the world. After stepping down as Microsoft's CEO in 2000, he co-founded the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation with his then-wife, Melinda, dedicating his wealth to solving global problems like poverty, disease, and education. His passion for learning continues to drive his work. Whether he's researching vaccines or advocating for climate change solutions. What's your purpose? Maybe you want to speak English fluently to build a career, connect with people, or share your own vision with the world. Whatever your dream, let Bill's determination inspire you to keep going. As he once said, success is a lousy teacher. It seduces smart people into thinking they can't lose. Don't be afraid to fail. Use each setback as a lesson to grow stronger. At English Adventure, we're here to help you code your path to success. Just as Bill Gates turned his curiosity into a digital revolution, you can turn your curiosity into a mastery of the English language. Our channel offers stories like this one to motivate you, lessons to improve your skills, and a community to support you. So, come back every day for a new adventure. Whether it's a story, a vocabulary lesson, or a speaking tip, subscribe, turn on notifications, and let's learn together. With hard work and vision, just like Bill Gates, you can achieve extraordinary things. Keep dreaming, keep learning, and let's make your English journey a revolutionary one. Starting right now. Thank you so much, dear English Adventure friends, for listening to Bill Gates' incredible story until the very end. We hope you've learned valuable lessons about dreaming big, working hard, and never giving up. Wishing you all the best on your own journey. See you next time. I am sure that the next video will bring another exciting story. Are you excited?